What is up, everybody? Happy Monday. We got the usual Monday crew, Mangone, myself. As usual, a big boy slate. We got an 11 gamer. News just news just arrived before we came on. Jarrett Allen is now doubtful with an illness. Damian Lillard's questionable. There's a bunch of news, as always, with NBA, which is like what we like to see, though. A lot more strategy. A couple of the news, like I said, Fred VanVleet, Damian Lillard, that news is in one of the late games, so we won't have it before lock. We're going to break down the strategy, break down where to go, where to fade. But first, throw it to my guy, Hoop. How was your weekend? How was your Sunday? And how are you excited for this NBA slate?
Yeah, Sunday was it was okay. I mean, I did decent. Wasn't a full dusting. Didn't like make a ton of money, but it was okay. Showdown went well last night, and I bet I was sitting thinking in my head last night before that Chiefs game. I was like, you know what? I think the Chiefs like just turn a corner. The Raiders, super fraudulent team. So I dumped a nice size bet on the Chiefs last night that obviously paid off. So all in all, solid week and good showdown slate tonight for NFL, and then we got this big NBA slate that's very interesting, loaded up with news. And a lot of times we'll talk about the news in these later games. Say, you don't necessarily need to build your teams based around this news. Well, tonight you probably have to, because there's some big boy names that are questionable late, like Damian Lillard. And then, like you said, Fred VanVleet. I mean, the Lillard thing is super important because you just have some free squares if he's ruled out. Only two games. We got a 10 p.m. Eastern and a 10:30 Eastern game. It is tough, but there are some guys on the Bulls that we can go to. Let's say you build your team with Lillard being out, and for some reason he's in. We do have these Bulls guys that are still pretty cheap. Raptors situation, there's going to be guys potentially in play if Fred VanVleet's out. So tonight, I think you do want to build kind of waiting, backload a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, yeah, like you said, two late games. And other than that, the games are 8 p.m. Eastern and before, which I doubt we get that news. Like you said, yeah, Vooch is still out, so there's some Bulls. LeBron's still out, so there's still some Lakers that we can get to. So, yeah, the last two games, there's a lot of ways to go. You're definitely going to want to prioritize the news. I think it's a very fun slate for sure. We see people in chat. We got our boy Jordan, Stephen Coy, Nate Spy, Dave Kinder, Travis Duarte, Richie Smalls, all you guys in chat hanging out with us. Thank you guys. You guys are already smashing the like button, so don't even have to remind that right now. Gonna throw it to you, man. Going, how was your weekend? How was your Sunday? And then big showdown, big NBA slate, a lot of action today. So talk about it.
Yeah, it's a good little slate. My camera just went out there for a second, so my bad. And then I had the volume going on in the background, so I don't know what happened, but I got the chat up, hanging with the people, excited for the NBA games tonight. And it's tough because, I agree with Hoop. Like, backloading sounds like a good idea, but I mean, we'll get to it. There are some good early plays too. Obviously, you have to kind of judge, well, what is this earlier play versus the later play? Just kind of trying to adjust through it. Sometimes you just feel like an idiot because you're like, well, that early play was good. And like maybe some news hits where like it doesn't go your way. And then like you have a worse play. I mean, it's going to be all over the place. I am very, very excited though for this slate. 11 games should be a lot of fun. And then of course we got the 3-gamer tomorrow. It's going to be an up and down week, a lot of games, not a lot of games. So excited for some NBA and also some Monday Showdown, obviously watching some Niners and watching some Rams.
I still don't get the logic though of like that the NBA. Like they know that NFL Monday Night Football is huge, like absolutely huge. Like I think Monday Night Football is like the highest rated show like on TV. Period. Like bigger than anything else. It's like just the highest rated program. Like why do they insist on loading up on Mondays and then going light on Tuesdays? It just doesn't make sense to me. But hey, I mean, I'm sure there's a reason to it. I don't get it though, especially with a lot of teams playing on the weekend too. A lot of teams are playing Saturday, Sunday. You'd think Monday would naturally just be a light day. It would work out better for them ratings wise and everything. But the 3-game slates are somewhat annoying. I mean, yes,
it's all about TNT, right? They want their views. That's what it's all about. But it
is, yeah. No, you're right.
From a sports fan standpoint, I would prefer it the other way. But I don't mind those 3-game slates because, like,
I don't either.
Spaced out, you can kind of like play some game theory. Or if you're behind, you play catch up. Maybe you have a team that you took some shots early on some risky guys. Now you can kind of eat some chalk. So I don't know. I like all the slates. I think they're fun. You play them different ways. And hey, this is just one that we have to play a little bit of a different way. And while we're kind of waiting on that news, we can build some Monday Night Football winners. While we're maybe waiting for the news, we can watch some Monday Night Football. So it's it's an all around just hang out, watch some sports, and probably get some takeout. Right, have the takeout, come home, don't make some food. It's a good night for that.
What are you about to take out?
Any lean? You guys? Yeah. First, go to that.
What are you about to take out? First of all, that's what is it pizza? I feel like that's your go-to.
Well, what's my go-to? I mean,
no, today. What do you have?
It's not tonight's, but I think tonight I'm going to do some sushi. I haven't done sushi in a very long time. It's been a while. But I typically like to, if I need to be quick, right? I know it needs to be efficient. I also like to pick my food up. I don't do DoorDash because I don't want my food cold. I just want to go grab it real quick. I want to be efficient. You just do Chick-fil-A. It's not that bad. You know, you don't feel miserable after eating it. And it's like good, like, you know, junky kind of food. And it's quick, right? You order it. By the time you get there, it's done. You get back in the car, you go, and you got enough time to get back before the next slot. That's how you do it.
I feel brutal after eating Chick-fil-A. It runs through me. I can't do it anymore personally, but I'm glad you don't have that problem. What
do you get there though? What do you get?
I get the chicken sandwich with the waffle fries. Not even the spice, like the spicy definitely, but not even the spicy. I see Simon in the back saying the Me Too title. I like it, but at the end of the day, the taste for 10 minutes is not worth what it does to me later. So I can't do it.
Really? See, I haven't had the issue. I just noticed with the spicy though, but anything spicy, you kind of, you know, pay the price the next day. But man, like that food is so good. Those chicken and just everything. The mac and cheese, I think it's the best mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese is so good. That's the best.
So good, so good.
The mac and cheese definitely is good. Were you about to say something before we got to talking about food? I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah, just any lean on the game tonight. Like I made a bet. I bet I think the Rams are like the best team in football. So I'm always biased when talking about the Rams. I continue just to re-up my Rams to win the division. I don't even know how much money I have on it, but it's getting uncomfortable here pretty soon. So I just bet them again tonight. I don't know. Minus whatever it is, 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5. I look, yeah. So like I was talking about it on the bet side. If you haven't checked it out with Tyler and Spread, they do a great job. The line just feels so trappy to be like 3.5. Like, and it was minus 105 for 3.5 for the Rams. And
that's why I did it. I always get sucked in by the minus 105. I swear, like I always get sucked in. And it really doesn't make that big of a difference. But if it was minus 10, I wouldn't have bet it. It was minus 105 for a while. I said, all right, I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm worried. Like, does it maybe go to 3? Like 49ers? I don't know. I feel like it's so trapped. I'm with you though. Like Jimmy Garoppolo against Matt Stafford. Like obviously Robert Woods is out, but like. It feels like Rams all day. Is just something's a little worrying me. I don't know that line. Mangone, do you have a take on it?
I mean, sometimes I just like you don't need to bet it. So like I didn't bet it, but I get it. I knew it was on the Rams. I mean, there was like no doubt that it would be on the Rams there in that spot. Yeah. Now, I don't think it's like wrong, but yeah, I don't know. It's a division game, right? Isn't it? Yeah, those two are in the same division that they grind out. I don't know. It's just. I think the Rams are the best team. Like I think the Rams are like they're the best team. Like I don't believe the Bills that much. I like the Bucks. I think the Bucks are the other like best team. It's like they're 1 and 2 for me right now. But I don't know. Sometimes I just don't need to bet it. You know what I mean? If it looks trappy, I'll stay away. I can bet other things and move on.
The other thing though, I don't know. There's a lot of talk on Twitter about the Jokic MVP thing. Like a lot of people talking about it. I bet that. I mean, he won. I'm sure they probably won't give it to him back to back, and that's the only concern. But they're 9-4. His numbers are better than they were last year. Like if they're like a top 3 seed and his numbers continue at this rate, like how is he not in consideration to win this thing back to back? 12, 13-1. I'm in on that a little bit.
Yeah, I saw when it was 15-1, and I sent it to my friend. I was like, all right, so like I didn't send that one. I was like, I don't think Donnie Mitchell at 40-1. I was looking at like long shots. I was like, 40-1's not bad. Like if like the Jazz are the 1 seed and he like takes a leap and he's been good this year. And then my mother was like, well, just Jokic is such good value. And I was like, yeah, I agree. Like I like the Jokic one, but I just don't buy the back-to-back thing. Like, I don't know. I don't believe in like the voters to get it done, but I didn't want to miss out. So I finally bit the bullet today.
You fired?
I mean, it wasn't a lot. I was just like, I want to be a part of it if it happens. Cause I felt
that's what I did too. I didn't put a ton on it. Like I didn't put a ton. I just put something on it because I mean, he's the best player in the NBA right now. I know Title will have exception with that comment, but he's the best player in the NBA. And he's won it last year. He's playing better this year without Murray there. Team 9-4. Like it just made sense, I think, to bet it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not against Jokic. Very well might be. I think he's insane for sure. They'll get Jamal back. Michael Porter hasn't done anything, so definitely don't mind that. before we get into the members never win and start talking NBA, Dave Kinder reminded me, Robbie and Jacoby Myers, like, was that just not the lock of all locks for both of them to get in the box after spending 30 minutes on the Hardwood show? Like, who? I mean, I tweeted, like, imagine not parlaying those two anytime touchdown. It had to happen. Of course, Cam gets it done for him. Anything you want to say about Robbie? Maybe going back to him for the year? Is he still buried?
It was just the ongoing joke, and we talked about it on the show. Like, Holden brought out the shovel. He said, we're burying these names. We're not talking about. I mean, we went into such depth to say these guys are dead to us. It was such a lock. And, did I really think it was a lock? Absolutely not. But when it happened, I'm like, yep, this makes sense. I mean, I was super busy with the NBA and the Showdown last night, so I didn't have a chance to get into it on Twitter. But, I mean, we'll definitely talk about it on the wood next week because, man, how funny is that? And I mean, Cam Newton, said those two talked ahead of time. So is he going to be the starter moving forward? I'm assuming.
I'm almost positive he's taking first team reps. He should.
We might have to revisit Mr. Throbby, and then Big T's boy Jacoby Myers gets in. It was a wild turn of events there on Sunday.
Yeah, that definitely made me laugh when I saw both of those for sure. K Fallick in chat. Title, I'm on the Up to Lock show. It better be exactly on time. Now, K Fallick, now I might go a little longer just because of that comment. So we do have 11 games.
Big slate.
It's a big slate. We had some fun, but hey, we're about to get into it. But first, we got to get into the members never win segment. We had a lot of screenshots and a lot of people we got to shout out. So in NFL, our boy Parabai, who's in Discord a lot, he won $5,000. Saw he was in second for a while, and then he just dropped to third place. But $5,000, believe that was a 222. Congrats to you. Eddie DT88 won $5,000 in Showdown. B Money won $20,000, and then BBQ winner won $50,000 in NFL. Congrats to you guys. Then we had an NBA win as well. T Rovers 6, Tyler Roberson, he's in Discord a lot too. $67,000 in NBA. Big time score. Congrats to you. Saw a lot of other screenshots too. Last week I know somebody took down a Q for us in the NBA street. So Big T yesterday won $30,000 in the NFL Showdown over on FanDuel. Make sure if you're not a member, RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off your first month. Big T's player pool is going to be up there. Tambo's attack plan is going to be up there. Rubio's playbook, core plays for the cash games. All NFL Showdowns will be up. All of our NBA content, AP's heat map, cash pool, playbook, all that stuff will be up on the site. RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off your first month. But K Fallick, it's time to get into it. We're gonna get to the first game. Yes, I know K Fallick, you're not in this chat, but hey, K Fallick, you're in the disc or in the YouTube chat. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. K Fallick, we're getting into it for you. The first game of the night. Yes, we got a lot of news in this game too. It's a 199.5 over under. You don't see this very often at all below 200, but it's the Boston Celtics. It's the Cleveland Cavaliers. Jarrett Allen, before we came on, was listed as doubtful though. So Evan Mobley gets a really big bump. Darius Garland still is elite play, I think. They're without Sexton. And on the Boston side, they're still without Jaylen Brown. So Dennis Schroeder's absolutely been smashing. Jason Tatum's getting all the usage. Robert Williams, I always like on FanDuel with the stock upside. So I think there's pieces in this game, even though we want to backload. Man, I'll go over to you. Talk about this game because you were talking about pieces you wanted in the earlier games. I think this is one that we can't fully avoid.
Yeah, before we go to the game, very hurtful. You didn't shout out my boy Hector. He got a nice little ship the other day.
I read whatever Simon gives me. He didn't have it though. I saw Hector $1,000 he won though. So I'm glad. Take it over. Give him a shout out.
I just want to listen. I want to give a shout out because you can grind those small stakes, right? I mean, you won nice little. You turned the $1 into $1,000. That's always good, right? It gets you better and just giving the shout outs over there for the people. So, but one of my boys, he's been grinding, so I want to give him a little shout out. But yeah, Title, we have a great amount of games. We are at the Celtics and Cavs first, correct?
Yeah, yes. Celtics, Cavs, no Jarrett Allen. Jaylen Brown's still out.
Is he doubtful or is he out official?
He's doubtful, but a mid to late day doubtful. I'm assuming he's out, but we will get the news.
All right, so we will get the news there on Jarrett Allen, obviously. 7 o'clock game. And this is one of those games I kind of wanted to mention where we got Dennis Schroeder, we got Smart, we have Tatum, Horford, and Robert Williams, all with no Jaylen Brown. Now, Hoop loves to play himself some Al Horford, and 6.8K on FanDuel. I mean, you got to think about that, right? Sure, you lock yourself into that 7 o'clock game, but he is at a good price tag, and there is no Jaylen Brown. Al Horford, 7.4K is on FanDuel too, and you got to play 2 power forwards, so definitely something to look at. And speaking of power forwards, you got to consider playing. We have no Jared Allen possibly, so who's that going to slide in? Well, Evan Mobley's in there at 7.2K, and you got a bunch of guys like Dylan Windler, Dean Wade is value plays, Chet Osman could be interesting. You got all the usage for Darius Garland. There definitely is going to be opportunity here for these Celtics. It is a tough total, right? 199.5, but they are going to play a ton of minutes. Could you worry about blowout a little bit? Yes. I hate trying to guess the blowout. I want to see what the line moves to as it goes, but I don't like to play the guessing the blowout game. I think there are good plays here. I think Dennis Schroeder is a good option. I think Marcus Smart's a good one at 5.4. Tatum is a good spend up, but the question is, do you want to lock yourself into these guys? That's what you really have to consider. And then don't also sleep on Ricky Rubio off the bench. This is a typical situation where we're going to have some tight rotations with some really good usage, but there are other really good spots on the slate. So I don't know exactly what to do. I want to kind of play these guys, Hoop, but like, I don't know. Do we lock ourselves into them? Because you kind of said it really well early on in the show.
Yeah, Hoop, I'm throwing it right over to you because like there's people out in this game that makes people interesting. Some of the prices are fine, but if Dame's out, if Fred VanVleet's out, Jimmy Butler is also questionable. That's 8 p.m. Eastern, so probably won't get that news before. Like if they're all out, I don't want this game, but if they're all in, I would definitely want this game. So talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where you really just need to evaluate everyone on a player by player basis. You don't want to pass up on really good value early on in the hopes that someone is ruled out later. But like kind of on the other hand, any of these like fringe type players, you don't want to commit yourself to either. So you really have to evaluate these guys. If someone's a really good play in this game, I think you still play him. If someone's a fringe play and you're like, maybe not, then probably don't play him. The guys that I would classify as probably really good plays here, Mobley, obviously without Jared Allen, who's doubtful. We're assuming he's out. Mobley, I think, is a very strong play. He's going to play a ton of minutes. This game should remain close. Next guy I think that's interesting is Cedi Osman. I think he slides in here, starts, probably plays about 30 minutes, and he's a guy that can contribute in a lot of different ways. And then Ricky Rubio, Garland, I think are plays. Are they enough to, lock them in at 7 o'clock Eastern? I don't know yet at this point. The guys I feel best with, probably Mobley and Osman. And then on the Celtics side, no Jaylen Brown, but we're going to have some other teams most likely that have bigger guys, well, not necessarily bigger guys out, but more impactful guys out, like Beal's out again. I think that's bigger news. Yep. When you talk about the Wizards situation at home against the Pelicans, which we'll talk about coming up soon. So, and the price tags are pretty well adjusted on most of these guys on the Celtics. We're not getting like a slam dunk value type play. So probably won't be on any Celtics. I think Mobley strongly in the conversation, Osman as well. And then, like I said, those fringe guys to me are probably like Rubio and Darius Garland.
Yeah, I agree. I think a couple pieces, probably 3 max for me. Like that would still be a little uncomfortable, but it's all about the news. If everyone that's questionable is in, I'd have probably more than 3 in this game, maybe with the news.
Yeah.
But we don't know about.
We're probably not going to get it either. We probably won't have it. So that's what makes these decisions so difficult, because you got to make decisions based on news that you don't have.
Yeah, because if Damian Lillard's out and you somehow don't have a spot for CJ McCollum and Anthony Simons and stuff, like you're drawing dead pretty much. I mean, they'd become stone locked. So yeah. A couple pieces, Evan Mobley, strong. Dennis Schroeder, if you want to go there, strong. Cedi Osman for cheap or something like that, I still think's fine. But yeah, don't go overboard on this game. The news, you can't, it's not baseball where lock hits. You pretty much have all the lineups and you can go on with your night. You're going to have to be around your computer and wait for it for sure. We're going to get into the next game, but first, 346 watching, 142 likes. Not too bad so far. Not bad. Just a little like, takes a second, a little thumbs up for us. The big red subscribe button, if you haven't hit it, we appreciate if you hit that as well. Give us some good mojo rolling into Monday. We're going to get into the next game, though. The Sacramento Kings, the Detroit Pistons. Sacramento is favored by 4.5. We have a 214.5 over under. I'll go right to you, Hoop. it's not your Pistons team, but you are a Detroit native. So, hey, you're a Piston right now. Talk about it for the people.
Yeah. I'm guilty by association, right? This game's easy for me. I mean, it's just Cade Cunningham and nobody else. He's 5'5" on DK. I think he's a fine option. I mean, he's going to have ups and downs, obviously. All rookies do. He's going to play at least 30 minutes. The upside probably like 34, 35 minutes. Can he get 40 fantasy points? Absolutely, I think he can. Is he most likely going to get into the upper 20s? Yeah, probably. But the upside's there for this kid. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot, like he typically does. The main thing that's been holding him back so far is the shooting. The shooting has been pretty inconsistent. I think that stabilizes at some point. But long story short, for me, it's just going to be him in this game. I don't see myself going anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, Cade Cunningham hasn't shot the ball very well, and he's still hit value and showing an upside. So when he finally does start making shots, I know we keep talking about it on the show, but the price is still fine. I think that makes sense. Then Isaiah Stewart, I wouldn't mind him on either site. FanDuel, I like him a little more. DK, he's only center eligible. Centers are always good. So I prefer him on FanDuel where he has that power forward eligibility too. But now with Allen out and News waiting, I'm not sure you even need to go there. Mangone, anybody outside of Cade Cunningham that you're looking at in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I've probably played the Kings a ton, but they got Halliburton back. They messed up their rotation a bit. I think Fox could make sense, but I just think it's a bad way to use your salary today. Like if you did have Fox in tournaments, I wouldn't hate it. Like I wouldn't hate Holmes, but it's just you don't need to prioritize these guys. I think I'm out on them. I think Cade Cunningham is the best play. You can make a case for like a Killian Hayes, but again, I think you're wasting a roster spot doing it right now. If you were doing MME, I wouldn't hate having him in there if you needed some cheap guards. Just kind of depends where you land. Jeremy Grant is not a bad option, I think. We know the ceiling that he can have at 7.2K. He is definitely someone that has popped on like winning tournament teams this year, more than you would think. And he's a nice little differentiator. You'll get him at like 2% or less. So I don't hate the idea of playing a couple guys if you're doing like an MME script, but it's an 11-game slate. It depends on how many guys you want to have in your script. You might not want to have too many options. Like Big T would cross this game up because he just doesn't like to have this big of a pool. So it really just depends on what you might need in your pool. Like if you need a power forward, I don't mind throwing like a Jeremy Grant in there. If you need a spend up point guard, I don't mind a Fox. I don't mind a Killian Hayes, but the best option for sure in this game is Cade Cunningham, and that's mainly it.
Yeah, it's definitely a game that even if I'm MMEing, like I'm putting a rule 2 max in this game, and I'll probably would hope that Cade's pretty much the only one that lands in them because it locks at 7 Eastern. You don't want to lock yourself into too many spots. And the next game, we'll get right into it. The last game that locks at 7 p.m. Eastern is one that we have to have interest in DFS. It's the New Orleans Pelicans, the Washington Wizards. 207.5 over under. The Washington Wizards are favored by 4.5. But as Hoop mentioned earlier, Bradley Beal is out. Spencer Dinwiddie is a complete stud when he gets the minutes. The price is still there. The usage is going to be there. Kyle Kuzma at 6'7". The usage will still be there. Aaron Holiday, I expect to slide back into the starting lineup. 3.5K. He's very good value as well. Going over to the Pelicans side, I don't have as much interest since they are healthy now. Javale has been a complete stud. I wouldn't mind if you want to go there as a low-owned pivot. But, again, locking yourself into someone, especially a center, isn't something I don't think you need to do. Hoop, I'll go over to you. Talk about this Washington side and anybody on the Pelicans.
Yes, on the Washington side, I mean, no Bradley Beal. And, you look at Spencer Dinwiddie, and we have a long history of this. When he's the main guy on offense, he just gets the job done. And he's done it basically every single game that Beal has been out. 35 fantasy points, dropped 50 against Orlando. Just a really solid play. And, this is a situation where I'm willing to, play these guys, even if we don't have the news on Lillard, should I say, like our boy JT Hayes said. That's what got me caught up because I was deciding if I was going with Lillard or the proper pronunciation, Lillard. Kuzma, again, another situation where without Beal, he's been phenomenal this year. 38, 35, 39 fantasy points in his last 3 games. He'll play a ton of minutes, upper 30. So I really like Kuzma tonight. Where I kind of draw the line is with like Aaron Holiday. Do I want to lock in Aaron Holiday here when we might have Anthony Simons later, who would be an even better play? Probably not. So I'll probably be passing on Holiday. If you're MMEing, though, different mindset. I mean, you're going to get exposure to all these cheaper guys. So yes, if you're playing the full 150, I definitely have Aaron Holiday in my player pool. If you're not, making that many lineups, I don't think I go with Aaron Holiday, but love Dinwiddie, love Kuzma. On the Pelican side, Brandon Ingram back, and all these guys are just a little bit too expensive for me. So on this full slate, I think the Pelicans are a great team to avoid, but the Wizards are very, very appealing without Beal.
Yep, I agree. I'll mention one more Wizard for you, man. Going Montrezl Harrell. His price there at 6.5, but the minutes are not as good as I'd want. Sometimes he's getting the 30s, sometimes he's in the low 20s, but he's always a monster fantasy point per minute producer. He's shown a ton of upside. And if he gets 30 minutes, I mean, the Beal news doesn't necessarily help him as much as a Kuzma or a Spencer Dinwiddie, but still, if they're not playing together, which they sometimes do, more usage is going to go to Montrez. He's not afraid to chuck it. So you interested in Montrez Harrell, low ownership in GPPs? Talk about Kuzma, Spencer Dinwiddie, Holiday, and anybody else in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I can make it quick here. Like, Hoop brought up great points. Dinwiddie, Kuzma, like, they're great plays. Obviously, if Beal's out, you want to be playing them. Aaron Holiday at 3.5, he's fine, but I might want to wait on some other different value plays. Aaron Holiday is not just like this stone lock, but he's a decent play. You got Alex Caruso later on in the revenge game, who we'll get to as a guy. We got Simons, who Hoop talked about. So those are decent options. I don't hate Gafford at 4.3, but do you want to lock yourself into a center spot? Probably not. You also got Montrezl Harrell, who, again, another guy. Do you want to lock yourself into a center spot? At 6.5, maybe I will, because we know what the upside can be. He is a guy that can get you 50 fantasy points. I just don't know if I want to do it here on this slate. We got Jokic later on. We have Valanciunas, who at 9.1. I don't mind, especially against the Wizards. The only issue I'm having with it is Brandon Ingram is back. And is that, going to mess everything up? It can mess it up a little bit. Definitely could be a concern. So I do think Valanciunas, though, he is an interesting term option you can go to, but not a priority. Of the 7 o'clock games, it feels like the most important news, if we had to like kind of rank it, I would say like Wizards and Cavs are like 1A and 1B. I think those are the two I would be looking at the most. Celtics are right there at number 3 or 2, as I said, 1A, 1B, so they're number 2. And then like the rest, it's just like I don't really want to mess with too much. And it's about deciding how much you want to lock yourself into, how much flexibility you want, but you are missing some good plays. And sure, you could have some better plays later. It could also go the other way where you don't have better plays later on. It is a big slate, though, so I'm sure we will be able to have opportunities to play some other plays. It's not like there's just one game on an island at the last spot, and then you're in trouble.
I agree with everything you said. I think it's 1A, 1B with the Wizards, Cavs. Beal out, obviously, is massive. Jarrett Allen, doubtful. We'll get that news, but that's massive. And then, yeah, Jaylen Brown is out. So, like I said, if you're making 150 lineups, if you want to, like, kind of onslaught these 7 p.m. games and hope everyone does play, you'll get them at reduced ownership. And they're, like I said, I mean, if they are all in, these 7 p.m. games, I would be overweight on for sure if I knew that everyone was in, because there is injury news in these. So I don't think it's a bad idea if you're 150, like I know some people do, get a little overweight on in some of your teams on these games. Again, if you always think OT too, which you don't play for OT in NBA DFS, but that's sometimes how you get to the top of the leaderboards. I think pulling some of these pieces does make a lot of sense for sure. We're going to get into the next game, though. There's 2 games that lock at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The first, Orlando Magic and the Atlanta Hawks, 216 total. Atlanta is favored by 10.5, which is one of the biggest spreads we have on this slate. Bogdanovich is questionable. Jalen Suggs is questionable. I'll go back to you, Mangone. It's not a game I have a ton of interest in, but break it down.
I'm on mute, but I noticed Jalen Suggs' title. I noticed he's someone that's popping a little bit against the Hawks, and like, I don't know, like he's fine, 4.7. It's not a bad price tag. Cole Anthony is expensive over on FanDuel, like 7.6. Is that the price tag we got to spend? I don't know if I want to go there today. On DK, you got Jalen Suggs is 4K, and then he's 7.4. So that's the thing I'm trying to figure out. Do I want to lock myself into a 4K Jalen Suggs? We got 30 minutes to figure that out, but I do think Jalen Suggs is the best play in this game. We do know Mo Bamba's ceiling and what he can do at that price, so I do think he is someone that you can mix in throughout your tournament lineups. And then the Hawks, man, I just don't know if I want to go to them today. It's just such a big slate. Save the Hawks for like a 5-gamer or a 3-gamer, mess with them there. I don't think they're too necessary. The only spot I would consider him is at the center position on FanDuel. Clint Capella is in play, but not someone I'm just jamming into my lineups.
Yeah, I think, Capella's 6.4 on FanDuel. That's a good point. And then another one, Kevin Herter. I do have a little interest in. DeAndre Hunter's still out. If Bogdanovich is out, if it's questionable, turns to out, Kevin Herter at 3.8 on DK, 4.2 on FanDuel. I think he makes some sense too. I mean, the value, someone was saying it in chat, the value on this slate is absolutely insane. You can go full stars and scrubs if you want to do it. Who talk about Kevin Herter, talk about the news a little bit, and then anybody on the Magic you're looking at.
Yeah, for me in this game, I mean, I'll keep it simple. It's just basically going to be Kevin Herter. I like him as is. I'd like him a lot more if Bogdanovich were to be ruled out. So as it stands now, I think he's a fine value play. Tons of good value, like you said. I think he's right in the mix with those guys as being one of the better values. If Bogdanovich is out, he probably becomes closer to a priority for me. It's tough to say though on the slate because we do have so many good value plays. I'm not touching the Magic on this slate. One other thing I wanted to mention, our boy in Discord, KNB Squid, gave away two $40 tickets on DraftKings today. So I just wanted to give him a shout out. He reached out and picked two people out of the Discord chat to stake in the $40 DK contest. So a little shout out to our boy KNB Squid for doing that. Real nice. Love seeing people pay it back like that.
Nice. Squid. Yeah, Squid's the man. He's always in Discord, bringing good mojo, crushing DFS. Squid, we appreciate it. I think you're in YouTube chat as well. I didn't know that, but hey, thank you to you. That's what makes RPS so good. Giving 2 tickets, 2 members. Squid, we appreciate it. The members appreciate it. Good mojo for sure. Our boy Snyder in chat too. We got Snyder. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Snyder. Here for some winners. Hit the like and show some love. Yeah, hit the like. What? We got 408 watching, 179 likes. Not too bad, not too bad, but I know you guys usually do better for us. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. It goes a long way and it's very easy to do. Again, thank you, Squid. Good stuff from you. Snyder, good afternoon. Good afternoon to everybody. Hope your Monday is going well. 11-game slate. It's a big one. We're going to get into the next game, though. The last game that does lock at 7:30 Eastern. And it is important to note, we're going to get to the Miami game that locks at 8 p.m. Eastern, but that's the Jimmy Butler news. I'm expecting we get the Jimmy news before these two 7:30 games we just talked about, but the 7 p.m. games, I doubt we do. So that's why the first 3 games are very important in how you want to go about it. The last 7:30 Eastern game, though, the Indiana Pacers, the New York Knicks, 213 total. The Knicks are favored by 3.5. Again, 2 relatively healthy teams. DFS, especially nowadays or this time of year with a lot of injuries, I don't really pick on healthy teams very much. Mangone, I'll go over to you. What are you looking at in this game?
Yeah, going into this game, Pacers and Knicks, yeah, they're both, I mean, they're healthy, right? There is opportunity there for the Knicks because the Pacers are definitely a team that I like to target. It's a 213 total. But do I want to be playing Knicks on this slate? Do I want to lock into some of these guys? I just don't think so. These 7:30 games don't feel like great games. Like if I'm going to skip on the 7 o'clock games, I'm probably skipping on the 7:30 for the most part. So not really too excited about these Pacers options. I think let's just make it quick, right? Full fade for me at this moment. Just don't think I need to be going there yet.
Full fade for me as well. Who, you see it the same? Or are you looking at anybody?
See no reason to play anyone in this game. I mean, whatsoever. I mean, there's not. I mean, the only guy I'd even consider would be Sabonis on DK at 8.8. But like you said, this is shaping up to be more of like a stars and scrubs type slate. And I don't think you need it. So, yeah, it will be a full fade for me, most likely.
Yeah, 11-game slate. You got to cross some off. I think this is one of the easier ones to cross off. We're going to get into the next game, though. Like I mentioned, Miami Heat, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Heat are favored by 9. We've got a 207.5 total. Jimmy Butler's questionable. If he's out, I already think Bam's a fine play anyway at 8.1K. You think, I mean, he would be a lock of all locks if Jimmy Butler is out. Kyle Lowry would get a bump. Duncan Robinson still an okay price. Tyler Hero has been playing good ball off the bench. A lot more minutes or a lot more usage to go around. Mangone, gonna go over to you. Talk about this Jimmy Butler news and anybody on OKC you're looking at.
Yeah, I doubt Jimmy Butler plays, or he doesn't have to play against the Thunder. There is no need. So I think he does end up sitting. You would like Lowry a little bit. His FanDuel price tag has been better than the DK price tag. So let me pull up the DK one. What are we at? We had 7.6. FanDuel looks like it has gone up. Is that the 7.4 price tag? Duncan Robinson, not bad. We were paying 3.9 though for him. Now 5.5. Do I want to pay that tag on this slate? I don't think I do. I'd rather play Bam. Bam hasn't gone up that much. If you look, 8.4K. Then you got 8.1K on DraftKings. This is definitely a play that I think Bam is going to absolutely dominate. We know the Thunder are a team that you can target down low. I talked about on the show last week. I mentioned Rashawn Holmes. I said Rashawn Holmes, he feels like an uncomfortable play, but he's playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we can destroy them with big men. What did he do? He went for 47.75 fantasy points in 32 minutes. Of course, that was something that was uncomfortable to play, Rashawn Holmes, but he absolutely dominated. And now we get Bam Adebayo, and we know Bam Adebayo has taken a little bit of a leap this year. We know Jimmy Butler could be out. It's tough to fade Bam in this spot. The reason to maybe not fade him, but maybe not just get as much exposure to him is because center position's pretty loaded and deep and could have some value. And if you have value, how do you not try and pay up for Jokic today? So that's one of the debates. I do think Bam is a really great play on DK. FanDuel, you also get the power forward flexibility with Bam Adebayo. So he's probably my top play in this game. And then right behind him is likely Tyler Hero. He has a little bit more flexibility with that guard and forward spot. So that helps. And I do like, all the chucking he's been doing, the usage he's been getting. And if they do happen to blow him out, which I'm not saying they blow him out, but let's say they call the dogs off a little bit early. If they do, Tyler Hero still kind of hangs out there and just gets his shots up and hangs out with the guys. He's one of those that will still get some minutes. I'm not as worried about him. And I try not to predict blowout again. It's hard to, but the point I'm making is I'm not worried about Tyler Hero losing minutes when people do worry about that part. I think his role is pretty secure and fine here. And let's say it does blow out. Tyler Hero's probably made a lot of 3-pointers to get us home. So I think he's a good play.
Yep, I agree. Hoop, I'm going to go over to you. Do you have the same lean as Mangone about Jimmy Butler not playing? I honestly didn't even think about it as much, but it makes sense as the big favorites against the OKC side. So do you think he doesn't play too? And then what are you going to do if he doesn't play?
I mean, if he's not fully healthy, I mean, they're facing the Thunder. I mean, their secondary guys should easily be able to take care of the Thunder. So I think there's a pretty decent chance that he does sit out. I mean, the good thing for us, though, I think Bam Adebayo is a great play regardless. At 8.1 on DK, I think he's a very good play. Like Mangone says, Bigs just crush this Thunder team. So Bam's in play. I think he's a really good play either way. If Butler's ruled out, he probably becomes closer to a lock type play. So really elite play as is, probably close to a lock if Butler is ruled out. Tyler Hero would be a phenomenal play at 6'6". It's probably where I'd draw the line, though, with this team. I mean, the prices have come up. Lowry 7'6" on DK. Duncan Robinson is 4'7". Definitely don't need to go to PJ Tucker on the slate. We have a ton of value. So Bam, really like Bam. Hero is a very strong option. If Butler's ruled out, 8 p.m. Eastern game, hour after lock. So probably up in the air in terms of whether or not we get this news. On the Thunder side, I see no reason to play any Thunder guys on what do we got, an 11-game slate, going up against one of the better defenses in the NBA. They have a team total under 100. They're relatively healthy, so I'll definitely be passing on the Thunder tonight.
Yep.
And then one other thing, they changed the official status of Jared Allen back to game. Yeah. So now he went from playing to doubtful to game time decision. So I guess the good thing is it's first game on the slate. So we'll get the news, but kind of annoying in terms of the back and forth.
Yeah, well, how that news? I don't think that's I see Nick in the chat saying it's an upgrade. I don't think that's an upgrade. I think they're just saying, hey, he was doubtful. Now, we're just going to we'll find out in 30 minutes or so. I think that's what they're saying. We'll find out in an hour. Good news is, like you said, we'll know. That's the good part about it. And we can digest the information and figure it out from there. And again, good news, it's 11-game slate. You don't have to lock yourself into the situation if you don't want to. So don't spend if Jared Allen is if we don't have the news until I don't know, maybe even 15 minutes till the game starts. Don't spend your time sitting and waiting on that. Have the plan ready in your head, and it's always better just to backload in that situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, and another thing that really helps at RPS is we have the Up to Lock show. Kay Fallick's going to be on it. I think it's Big T, JSU, Holden is what I believe the crew is today. And they bring you all the way up to lock. They bring you past lock. They'll be given what their thoughts are for the news, how they're going to approach the late stuff as well. So if you're not a member, you're definitely missing out on that show. That's very important. RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off. And then make sure to get in Discord as well. People are constantly asking questions, every single sport. If you have a question about any sport, anything in DFS, survivor pool, whatever you want to talk about, there's always knowledgeable people in there to help you out. So RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off. Cesar Martinez, what's going on? Pumped for this slate. Me as well. Junior, Nick Storsey, Brittany, Nadesify. Appreciate all of you guys hanging out with us. It's a good Monday. Big prize pools. NFL later as well. So excited for a big night over RPS. Get your RPS logos on your DK and FanDuel profiles, and we'll see you guys up at the top. We're going to get into the next game, though. It's a good one. The Nuggets and the Mavericks, 209 over under. Dallas is favored by 5.5. Will Barton is doubtful. No Will Barton, no Jamal Murray, no Michael Porter. We have all the value in the world. I think Jokic makes all the sense in the world today and is my favorite spend up by far. Don't have Giannis on the slate or any of that either. Still below 12K for Jokic. So, Hoop, I'm going to go over to you. Talk about Jokic. I assume you're on the same page as me, and then anything else in this game.
Yeah, I mean, best raw points guy on the slate by far. Jokic, that is. Easy to get him with all the value. And, man, like, how do you not bet the Nuggets? I mean, getting 5.5. I'm just so anti-Mavs, so I guess there is some bias here. I just don't think the Mavs are all that good of a team. So there is a lot of bias baked into it. But, man, I definitely fired on the Nuggets, and I might put more down, too. 5.5, I'll take my chances. I don't care. Like, Barton, Jokic just gets the job done. They blew out who they play last night. It was a blowout. They beat was it Portland?
Yeah, Portland. Yep.
Yeah, they kicked their ass by like 30. So I mean, these guys barely played any minutes. Give me the Nuggets here plus the 5.5 as a little bet. In terms of DFS, hard to really get invested in a lot of other options here on the Nuggets side. I mean, I think, like I said, Jokic is by far the best raw points guy on the slate. I don't think you need this value, though. We have great value all over the board. Austin Rivers started and didn't do anything. Played 22 minutes, got 7 fantasy points. You don't need to take on that risk tonight. Someone else is going to step up and have a big game here on the Nuggets. Who is it? I don't know. There's like 6 different guys that it could be. I'll just go with the guy I know in Jokic. And then on the Mavericks side, not a ton of interest for me. The price on Porzingis is finally starting to come back up. Thank God me and Mangone are done with the back and forth trying to figure out if we play him, if we don't play him.
I hope I have a confession to make. I played him the other
You played him?
It worked out well. So
I saw you like went off. Right? It was like
47.
It worked out great. I was
yeah.
And when you play cash games too, sometimes you're like, well, this guy's 90%, he doesn't matter. The 75% guy, whatever, he busted, fine. But you see Porzingis down there, I was like, ooh, like 25, 30. I was like, that's a difference maker. And so now me and Porzingis are friends for now, right? I'm
back on his good side.
I'm taking caution with him though. We're not just fighting. I'll say that.
Yeah, but yeah, for me, it's just really Jokic. I mean, that's the only one I'm really playing in this game. So yeah, keep it simple.
I'm with Rivers is going to start, but like on a slate with so much value that we've talked about, why do you need to really go to Austin Rivers? I don't think you have to. I wish Bones Highland was getting more minutes. He's only playing low 20s, but man, this kid's good. Jokic likes him. The kid can flat out play and produce when he's out there, but I just don't think you really need to take on that risk with so much value and potential value that we're going to get later. So I'm with you. It's really only Jokic for me. Do you see it the same way, Mangone? Maybe Luka? We haven't talked about Luka. Stars and scrubs with so much value. I think a Luka Jokic pairing is interesting and you can make it work. Talk about it.
Yeah, Jokic is a really good play. I love him here in this spot. He takes up that center spot. So you only put him in 2 spots, which can be frustrating on DraftKings. I do like him though here. Definitely someone I'm going to look to roster. I don't think you should play Bones Highland, mainly because it's just the wrong slate, kind of like what you said. If he happened to win you a GPP, sure, run it back if you'd like to, but I think it's a mistake. I think there's just better values on this slate. We know what Mike Malone can do. We know he can be a disaster. I don't want to mess with Mike Malone too much. Monte Morris is okay, but again, value that we could have later on. And we could have this news in time on some of these other situations where maybe you do decide to play him. That's something that could happen. Obviously, that's an 8 o'clock game East Coast, and then we got the 10 o'clock for the Portland one. So we might not have the news, but there's certainly a chance that we could. On the other side, you mentioned Luka. I think he's fine at 11.3K. It's nice that he's guard and forward eligible, so you can throw in a bunch of different spots. He's only point guard, not getting the shooting guard, but still that helps when you're kind of building out your lineups. I do think he's in play. I do think he's an option that you should be considering on this slate. The other day he had a really big fantasy point game. And he was like 6% owned. That's what like these studs. There's not a huge difference between them all the time, right? You see Harden, KD, Luka. You got John Moran. the difference is their price, their projection. But if one guy is going to be like, I don't know, 35% on, the other one's 5%, like, I don't know if there's that much of a difference. So it's just, sometimes you got to take that chance on that low-end guy to kind of get you home. And if you do play that low-end guy, then it's easier to kind of eat all that chalk. So I do think Luka is in the conversation in tournaments. If he is going to be low-owned, I want to get some exposure to him. And maybe Tim Hardaway Jr. on FanDuel. I know the price has been pretty good over there for the most part. But again, I don't think it's a guy I'm like loading up on. He's not in my one lineup. Maybe I get him in some MME, but that's about it. A game that I want to just mainly focus on the studs.
Yep, I agree with you. Before we get in the next game, Corey Still had a job interview today that went well. So I see some good mojo tonight. Hey, congrats, Corey Still. Good luck. Hopefully you get it. Glad it went well. Good mojo for sure. It's always a good feeling to have for sure. AP, Bones is such a stud. Bones is such a stud. It's only a matter of time till Malone finally realizes it and he gets more than 21 minutes. But on a slate like today, Malone hasn't trusted him, I guess, that much yet. So if you told me he was going to get 28, 29 minutes, I'd be all over Bones. But on this slate, unfortunately, I can't project him to get that minutes. We're going to get into the next game, though. The Houston Rockets, the Memphis Grizzlies, 219 over under. The Grizzlies are favored by 11.5, which is the biggest spread on the slate. Both teams are pretty healthy again. Prices are pretty solid. It's not a game I really have interest in. Eric Gordon is questionable, but it's 2021. This is a whole different Rockets team. Eric Gordon's not that big of a piece. Do you have any different stance in this game? Christian Wood on FanDuel is the one thing I'll say. I think he's a little interesting, but outside of that.
Yeah, that, and then Jaren Jackson, I think, could kind of go off against the Rockets. I think good tournament type play. Very volatile in terms of production. Like, he has these spike games and then comes all the way down. There's really not many games where he's just like okay and gets you like 30 fantasy points.
Because he either fouls or he doesn't foul. It's one of the
big
two.
Hack. Yeah, exactly. So he, I think, is a fine play. I mean, 6.6 on DK kind of stands out as a value price tag. But yeah, outside of that, this is a good game to avoid. And then you said Christian Wood too. I think Wood on FanDuel is somewhat interesting.
Yep. Mangone, do you see it the same way?
Gosh, on
mute again.
Title. I was looking
You're
at
struggling.
the next game because I have an interesting nugget I want to talk about in the next one. But this game is tough because the Rockets, I don't want to really roster too many of them. If the game did stay close, though, like if you did play a John Moran, running it back with like a Christian Wood is not a terrible idea, or maybe one of these value plays into Jalen Green or Daniel Theis. But it's a 219 total. It is nice to target the Rockets, and it's not a bad idea ever to target the Grizzlies. I do think if you are playing guys in this game, it is good to kind of load up on it together, right? Maybe do a little bit of a game stack. And it is worth mentioning that Dillon Brooks is back. What is Dillon Brooks going to do to Jaren Jackson's production, Ja Moran's production? Something definitely to watch over the next couple of days. I know this isn't the first game that Dillon Brooks is back. He did actually play 30 minutes last game, which surprised me. I thought he was on that minutes limit, but 30 minutes for Brooks, definitely something to monitor over like the next couple of days. And I'm sure K Fallick will be in the chat presenting those charts to the people. Although Hoop, I haven't seen the K Fallick charts as much as last year, which is very, very hurtful.
So hurtful and disappointing, really. I mean, we need the charts. I mean, or we got to change his name. I mean, he can't be the charts play of the day. You know, it's got to be something different.
Maybe he'll have some charts on the Up to Lock show tonight. K Fallick, if you're listening, start printing them off and get some charts for the people. That's what we want to see. But I'm with you guys. Like, so there's 8 p.m. Eastern, or there's 4 8 p.m. Eastern lock games. Obviously, the Heat game, depending on the Jimmy Butler news, just Bam really stands out. This Nuggets Mavericks, like pretty much Jokic just stands out. This Houston Memphis game, I don't have too much interest in. Then we're going to get to the Suns Timberwolves game, which I'll go to you, but I don't have as much interest in it. And if we don't get this news, this Fred VanVleet, Damian Lillard news and stuff, and you already have open spots in your lineup from the 7 p.m. Eastern games that you didn't go fully onslaught, like I'm just going to wait for the news personally for the last 2 games and make my moves there instead of playing these 8 p.m. game Easterns. That's how I'm approaching it really. But Mangone, Suns, Timberwolves, 222.5 over under. Phoenix is favored by 4. You got some nuggets in this game. It's floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, I do think it's a good one. Then people would think so. Let me draw it out for you. So I don't know if you know this, but Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns, they both put up 40 real life points against the Suns last year. Like they've done this. Like it's not like this matchup is as bad as you'd think. They can definitely get the job done. you're just honestly paying for studs at really good price tags compared to some of these other ones. Like Anthony Edwards is 8'4". He's going to be more than 8'4" at some point. Yes, the floor could be low. Russell, Cat, and Ant, they can eat into each other, but they've already proved that they don't necessarily do that. I mean, I wouldn't play all three of these guys together, but you can play at least one, I think. Cat at 9.8K, he's definitely a stud that you can go to. We don't know Ayton's status for sure, right? Ayton could possibly in. Is that correct, Title?
Yeah, I believe he is questionable. I'll double check.
Yeah.
I mean, JaVale McGee's 4-2. Questionable, yeah. Look at what JaVale McGee did yesterday. I don't know. Some people take off on Sundays. I still grind the streets.
I got so bailed out. He was my last guy in, and I was like, yeah, screw it. I was like, I'll just play his ass. I said, I'll give me like 18 fantasy points, and hopefully he had like 13, 10, 2 blocks, steal at halftime. So
it was nuts. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have it. My laptop was closed pretty early on the football or on the NBA streams.
That was nuts.
JaVale McGee 4-2, man, go keep going. Anthony Edwards, I like it, but his price is up. He'll be 2%. You know he has the upside, but talk about, is JaVale McGee a run back if you're going the Towns and Anthony Edwards route if Ayton's out, or what are you thinking with that way?
Yeah, I don't know what to do with McGee because, man, like 24 minutes, he puts up that 47 game finally. He's definitely in play, but do you want to waste the center spot on him again? I don't know if I want to waste the center spot, and that is like kind of one of the struggles I'm having here. Chris Paul has been really phenomenal. I don't know if I really want to play Chris Paul. He has looked a lot worse, but I mean, he's definitely someone you can play. At the start of the year, he was absolutely crushing it. He's still been good, but the numbers have gone down a little. We know he has a 50-point ceiling. So if you wanted to mix and match him, I wouldn't hate it. I just know based on this DK algorithm, the way they're pricing guys, and like I love Jokic today. I think he's great. He is like 11-7 though. You even got Westbrook. He is 10-8. It is an expensive price tag. Some of these guys in this 8K range, and you got a lot of them in this game. You have Chris Paul against the Timberwolves team that you can just destroy on defense. Even a Devin Booker. You got Edwards, Towns. All these guys at those price tags that are just like, 1.5K lower or 2K lower, even like 3K lower. These guys have 60-point ceilings. They have 50-point ceilings. So I don't want to ignore them. I really like this like 8K range in tournaments. I think getting overweight and playing 8K guys and like these value plays is a really smart way to build out your construction. You need those 8K plays to hit though, because they don't hit their ceilings. And those value plays are just like really, really good. Then at some point you need raw points. And like, that is one thing that's really great about Jokic is, man, like his raw points could be 70. It could be 65. He can even get 58. And that could be worth it even at that price tag with how great the values play out. And you just got to see what the news, what kind of news comes throughout the night.
Yeah, I think you make some good points. I don't think this game is going to have too much ownership. I don't have too much interest in it. I'm going to go over to you, who you can talk about this whole game. I already have a feeling I know what you're going to say about this guy, but D'Angelo Russell, he's 7-1 on DK, 7-2 on FanDuel. I feel like every time I play him, he gets me 12. Anytime I don't play him, he gets you 50. But 35, 41, 31, 52 his past 3 games. His usage is right around 24, 30, 24, 27. He's had some insane usage games this year. Like if he gets hot, he doesn't stop chucking. But when he starts missing shots and now Anthony Edwards is taking over Towns, sometimes it doesn't go that way. Talk about him in tournaments though. The range of outcomes are wide, but the price is a little appealing.
Yeah, I mean, it comes a point in DFS with guys where you just got to cut ties with them and just say you're done. And if they beat you, they beat you. And that's where I'm at with D'Angelo Russell. Like I've been on the 12-point D'Angelo Russell games like way, way too often. And I'm just at a point now, unless the price comes in at like super, super low, like I'm just not playing him. If he goes off and gets 55 or whatever and beats me, that's fine. I'll take it and move on to the next slate. The guy I do have interest though in is Anthony Edwards. He's turning into one of those guys that I think you just play in tournaments almost every single slate. Like he just looks amazing. The upside is massive. So Anthony Edwards in tournaments, I think great play. Have trouble getting to Cat today. I mean, you have Anthony Davis, like $200 more on DK. I'd definitely prefer Anthony Davis in that situation. So Cat, I will be off of. Anthony Edwards, I think great play. And then on the Sun side, I mean, Ayton is questionable, and this game is 8 p.m. Eastern, so we may or may not have the news. Wouldn't count on JaVale McGee going back-to-back, 50 fantasy point games. Just not a great game overall. Favorite piece by far, though, would be Anthony Edwards in tournaments.
We got people in chat. Robbie, Brittany, Robbie, D'Angelo, TJ, Toe Tagging Tambar, Boy, Robbie. Yeah, it's D'Angelo Russell, Robbie Anderson. Hey, I might have to go and get a little 2% after yesterday, and everyone chat saying it,
yeah,
speaking into existence. But I'm with you. Anytime I play him, he gets me 12. It seems. Maybe he can.
I wouldn't play D-Russ on this slate. I think he's better on these slates where we got like 4 or 5 gamers, and he's going to be low owned because people don't want to roster him and deal with him. I think that's the better slate for it. And I think it's worth talking about Patrick Beverley at 4-1. I think he's a great guard play today at that price tag, and he has been phenomenal all season long. I mean, Hoop, he's a game log guy, right? You love pulling up the game log, and I like doing it too at times because sometimes it helps make it clear. I'm not just doing it because of that. I mean, he's great in the projections. He's had a couple bad games, but like, I mean, that 11.25 is the one that I didn't see coming because I think I looked this before, but before that, man, it was so great, right? I mean, that's like the first time he really killed you, and he hasn't been expensive, but it is funny. And like, I think it's a good buyback spot on Patrick Beverley. Maybe people get off him now because they burned him a little bit. And Pat Bev is someone that they're going to need defensively. You think Pat Bev's going to have a fun time going at it with Chris Paul all night? Of course he is. And they're going to need him out there on the floor here against the Suns. So I like Pat Beverley at 4.1K.
This is where I'm going to say it's not the right slate, man, going. If you're saying that about D-Russ, I mean, come on. You want an 11%, 12%, 15% usage from Pat Bev? I mean, I think there's better values on the slate. But
I mean, I'll tell you
get him, Title.
Yeah, I have to. He's roasting my plays. I got to come back at him.
I'll tell you this. If you look at the value plays on this slate, I don't know what projections you guys look at. Pat Bev's grading out pretty good. I don't think he's that bad of a value play. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. When you want to pay up for Jokic and Bam, I just said in the chat, if I want Jokic and Bam, I need some guard value. Like, I mean, I'm running out of money. I mean, I think he's a good play.
K-Falic's on my side. Thank you, K-Falic. I even said, he said, I just vomited with Pat Bev after Mango doesn't stop talking about this is not the slate for bones. K-Falic read my mind. Hey, K-Falic, I appreciate it. Mango, Pat Bev goes off for 30. I expect a victory lap from you. But
I mean, we know what I'm doing. We get to the plays of the day, possibly. I might.
Oh gosh, that would definitely be the dry hump play of the day if you go Pat Bev on that one.
Might have to go there. It could be a fun time. We'll have to see. Get those likes up, and we'll find out.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm glad you said it. 453 Washington, 228 likes. That's a little hurtful. It's not that bad. I mean, it definitely could be worse, but you guys have been hitting it and absolutely crushing it. 228's a little disappointing. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We definitely do appreciate it. If you're watching it, free content. A like goes a long way. We appreciate it. Appreciate everyone hanging out in chat. I wanted to comment on the Danger 10. Jokic, Luka night. That means Boban season. Hey, Big T taught me very well. Big T, when he says it's Jokic, he says that it's Boban season. I'm going to be listening to Up the Lock show because I know there's going to be some Boban talk, or at least I'm going to ask for it and see what Big T's doing with Boban because he's got the 0.3% ownership. Boban absolutely crushed in the past and won people a lot of money. I want to see if Big T's speaking Boban into existence too, because in the past, Boban does play when he is going against Jokic. So Danger 10, you've been around for a while, I can imagine, with that talk. We appreciate it. That was a good comment too. Thank you guys hanging out in chat. Nick Soro, our boy Dave Kinder, K-Falic, he's laughing at you, Mango, and Pinchy. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. It goes a long way. RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off all the sports, Discord. Make sure you hop in. There's no better time to be a member. 2 games left, though. Not a lot of time to get the likes there. You guys can do it, but 2 games, 2 very big ones that we've been talking about. Toronto Raptors, the Portland Trailblazers. Very close spread at 1.5 for Portland is the favorite. 211.5 total. Damian Lillard questionable. Fred VanVleet questionable. Precious Achiuwa questionable. This game, if 2 of those pieces are out, I mean, obviously Fred and Dame mean the most, but even Precious means some. Boucher's out as well, I believe. Yeah, Chris Boucher's out too. So granted, that's not really news because Nick Nurse hates him anyway, but they're without Precious and him. Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, his minutes limit is now it's off. There's no minutes limit for him anymore. He's 8.3K. This game can get really interesting, Hoop. I'm going to go over to you. A lot to break down. It's too hard to tell right now what to do with it, but break down the news and how you're going to approach it if they're out or in.
Yeah, I mean, this game could go one of two ways. Either it's a game that we're going to have a ton of interest in for DFS purposes, or a game that we have literally like no interest in for DFS purposes. Fred VanVleet, if he's out, then yeah, we're going to be looking to some of these guys. I mean, Siakam finally kind of broke out a 55 fantasy point game, played 35 minutes. If Fred VanVleet's out, I think he's right back in the conversation for us. Gary Trent, Barnes, OG. A lot of plays here if VanVleet's in. If he's out, I mean, if he's in, we're not playing any of those guys. And then obviously the biggest news on the slate is Damian Lillard. If Lillard is out, Anthony Simons is probably the best value play on the slate. Played 28 minutes last night, 30 fantasy points. He's still only 3.5K. CJ McCollum at 7.7K becomes a good play. I mean, not as good as Simons, but still a very strong play at 7.7. You can maybe consider a guy like Norman Powell at 5.4, probably a last piece type in. But if Lillard's in, I'm not playing any of those guys. So it's very simple. So it makes the slate very difficult. There's only 2 games that start after 10 p.m. Eastern, this one, then the Bulls-Lakers game. But the good thing for us is there's some good plays in that Bulls-Lakers game as well. So if we have Simons in there, if we have McCollum in there, if we have Siakam in there, and the news doesn't break our way, yeah, you're going to be loading up on, the Bulls-Lakers game. But there's good plays in there that we'll talk about. I mean, there's, I think, 5-6 viable, strong options in that game that you can go to. So that's why I don't mind backloading a little bit tonight, waiting on this Lillard news and going from there. To me, the Lillard news, it's not a hot take, but it's the most important news on the slate. I mean, he's a massive usage guy. If he's out, we're definitely playing Simons. We're definitely playing McCollum. If he's in, we don't want those guys. So luckily we have this game at 10:30 Eastern that actually has some pretty good fantasy options. So like I said in the opening, it's going to go one of two ways. Either we're going to be playing a lot of these guys or we're going to be completely fading this game based on the news.
Yeah, it's really nice that we do have that late game that definitely has some pieces that you can play in. Before I go to you, Mangone, yeah, people in chat, Love Lady make a good point. Carlisle was the coach. Now it is Jason Kidd. Glock says Kidd's utilizing Boban differently. Only got 3 minutes against the Nuggets last game. So, yeah, I'm not advocating for Boban play. Those are good points. I haven't looked. I did not know he only played 3 minutes last game, but I'm not playing Boban. I never play Boban if there's an injury news. Big T is the Boban whisperer. But yeah, with Kidd now instead of Carlisle, that's a good point. Don't take the risk on this slate unless Big T has a hunch. Maybe you want to throw in a lineup or two, but I'm not advocating for it. Good points, Glock. Appreciate it. Good points, Love Lady. Mangone, go over to you. Talk about this news. Fred VanVleet, Damian Lillard. What's it going to do for you?
Yeah, I mean, even if Big T has a hunch, I don't think that hunch is right today. It's just tough to play Boban. I can't. It's a good slate. That's all. I mean, center's deep. Like, man, the more I keep looking at it all, it's like, man, like, it's just there's so many good plays everywhere, and we don't even know like these plays in this Portland game and the Raptors, like on both sides, like projection models don't even see what these plays could be. Obviously, you can tinker it yourself and figure it out and grade it out, but like some of these plays that are like the best plays right now might not even be the best plays compared to these guys. So like that's part of the issue on this slate. And it's hard to really break this game down and be like, I think this is the good player. This is the guy. Because there's just so many things that can happen. There's so many ways it can go. Like what if Boucher just started out of nowhere? Of course. And I would want to go to him. I don't even know. Is he in for sure or out? Because I know that they messed with him in the rotation.
He's out. I don't think he's playing.
He's not playing. Okay. I haven't looked at this news much because I just don't know what's going to happen. I need to wait. I need to wait and see. VanVleet is the key, right? Because if VanVleet doesn't play, that's where you're going to open up Malachi Flynn. You're going to open up Goran Dragic. And Flynn played a little bit, but Dragic is the guy. You need to know if he gets the start. And because I mentioned this with Boucher, because Boucher the other day was someone that I said, if he's starting, he's safe, okay? Goran Dragic was safe because he was starting, and that is the key. Whoever Nick Nurse announces as starters, those are the guys that you play. Those are the guys that you can count on. Those are the guys that will get minutes. And everyone it was a fun chat we had in Discord on Saturday night. Everyone's like, oh, Goran Dragic's not getting the minutes. He'll get the minutes. That's what Nick Nurse does. He plays his starter. So that is the tell for Nick Nurse. It's absolutely obvious. Chauncey Billups is a little bit different. Chauncey could do some weird stuff, and we don't know the Dame Lillard news. The good thing is we have 2 different outs here, and we have elite value plays in that game later on. I mean, you could backload your teams all the way until 8 o'clock, even you could just make it only like the night slate, and you could easily make a really good team by the end of the night. I'm not saying that's what you should do, but I think it's something that is in play, and giving yourself the max flexibility is going to be important because of these two games. And the Bulls, they still haven't priced anyone up properly. And the Lakers, we got Town Horton Tucker there at 3K, which helps give you all the flexibility in the world. So there's just so much that can go on in this game. It's hard to really analyze what's going to happen. I remember when I pulled the Raptors today, I said, oh, there's Van Vliet questionable, and then just a laundry list of them. You just really have to wait and see and make that decision later on. That's kind of how you have to handle it. And that's why fading these 7 o'clock games could really, really be worth it on this slate.
Yeah, you definitely have to have a plan going into the night, how you want to approach it. Again, I like the 7 p.m. Eastern games. I don't really like the 8 p.m. Eastern games. Jimmy Butler, obviously, I would like Miami a little bit. And then I like these late games. So I like the really early ones, not as much in the middle. I like the late ones. But yeah, you're going to have a plan with these for sure.
Title, one last thing to mention is Gary Trent Jr. Someone said him in the chat, and I wanted to talk about him. And his price is 7K on FanDuel, which is tougher, but 5.8 on DK. If I told you all those Raptors played and like Gary Trent will still probably start, well, like Gary Trent at 5.8 is still a good play. Like there's just so many good options in this game. It's not the greatest total, but it doesn't matter. Like we know the minutes are going to be played here. So that's another guy I wanted to mention specifically that I forgot to, that someone mentioned in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, Norman Powell at 5.4K. Like that's not a bad play. Like if Dame's in, like I'd be fine with Norman Powell at 5.4. Nurkic 6.6. Like I don't love it, but like all these guys can absolutely become smash plays if they're out. And even if they are in some of these prices, Trent, Powell, like it's even Anthony Simons at 3.5, like he still gets some minutes. So I agree. This news is big, but even if they're all in, the last 2 games are fine and price fine where you're not absolutely screwed, I don't think. K. Falik said Boban over Pat Bev. I don't agree necessarily, but he's messing around, of course.
Well, if K. Falik wants to wager on that, K. Falik, I mean, slide right in.
Of course I knew Mangone was going to say that. He's just
busting. I mean, you got to, Title, you have to at least throw the line out and just see if they'll catch it, you know?
No, there was zero chance anything was going to be caught on that line. He's busting it's not the right slate for either, Mangone. Come on now.
I mean, Title, you look at projections. I'm telling you, he's higher up than you think. Like, the issue is he might not be higher up later on, and that's the key, because later on, we're going to have a lot of really good value like we're talking about.
Speaking of value, Kevin Huerter is starting, which we did expect. He's starting for DeAndre Hunter, which we did get. Again, Bogdanovic is questionable. If he's out, Huerter gets even more of a bump. Nerlens Noel's ruled out too. That doesn't do much for me, but the news is starting to come in. The Up to Lock show will be very important. It's time to get to the last game, though. The Chicago Bulls, the Los Angeles Lakers, the game that we've been talking about. Last game has pieces we want. Vooch is still out. LeBron's out. THT it should be in the starting lineup. He's min price at 3K. I think he makes a ton of sense and is very good value on this slate. We get the revenge narrative with big boy Alex Caruso sitting there at 4K. He also started last game. So not only the revenge game that makes it a little appealing, 4K for Alex Caruso starting makes a ton of sense. I like DeMar DeRozan at 8.3. I like Zach LaVine at 8.1. I'm not going to go anywhere near Tony Bradley at 3.5. Talk about not the right slate for that. Don't go there. Elise Johnson, he didn't even get any run yesterday. He was projected highly as well. I know Elise Johnson burned a lot of people. Definitely don't trust the front court for the Bulls, but the guards I have interest in, Caruso, Horton Tucker. I think AD's a strong play. I'll go over to you, Hoop. This is why the last 2 games waiting for the news isn't the worst, because even if they're in, this game's good. Talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we've kind of been, hitting on all show. Like, if you build your teams waiting for the Lillard and Fred VanVleet news and it doesn't go your way, you're going to come to this Bulls and Lakers game where you have a lot of viable options. I mean, yes, it's an 11-game slate. You don't want to be in a, game stack situation on an 11-game slate, but you're not all that far off. You're getting a game here that should be competitive. It's basically a pick 'em, a 217 total. That's not a huge number, but competitive game, and you have pieces here. Caruso inserted into the starting lineup, played 39 minutes. They beat the Clippers last night. He's going to start again tonight, and he's going to play a lot of minutes. Like he performed well. They're not going to change the starting lineup. So Caruso's a phenomenal value play. You got Lonzo Ball, who with Caruso in there, you're going to take away a little bit from him, but he's only 6.5K. You have Levine, you have DeRozan, all solid options. They're running a very tight rotation now, so you know these guys are going to be playing. Then on the Lakers side, we have Horton Tucker, just came back, 27 minutes, 27 fantasy points. Typically a fantasy point per minute type guy. They need him here, obviously. You have Anthony Davis at 10.4K. Then if worse comes to worse and you're really jammed, Russell Westbrook at 10.8. So you have like 7 guys that are viable here. That's why I don't mind backloading. Favorite play, definitely Caruso. I think Caruso is just a slam dunk value play tonight. Really, really like him in the spot. I know, the revenge narrative as well. So like I said, if you build your teams, leaving flexibility at the end, you're not completely screwed if the news does not go your way. Great game here for fantasy.
Yeah, people are talking in chat about Kobe White being back too. Yeah, he is back. People are saying, do you think Caruso's still going to get the same minutes? I don't think he's going to see 38 minutes like he saw yesterday, but like I don't expect Kobe White to play 20 minutes. It's his first game back. Like I see I'm expecting he gets 16, 17 minutes, somewhere around there. Caruso still 33 minutes, somewhere around there, I think is definitely, what I'm expecting. And 33 minutes, Alex Caruso at 4K. Think makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't worry too much about the Kobe White news being back. I still expect him to come off the bench. I still expect Caruso to start, but I don't have any inside source. Maybe I'm wrong on that. People are talking about Lonzo Ball coming back to LA too. We know we saw what LaMelo, his younger brother, did when he came back to LA. The problem with me is, man, Lonzo he's just not there. Like this year, he's definitely taking a backseat to DeRozan, to Levine. It's not the same Lonzo as I was loving. I like him more on FanDuel than I do DraftKings with the pricing, with the stock upside. He is a good stock producer. So I don't love Lonzo today. Prefer him on FanDuel. But hey, he is going back to LA. Maybe he can do what his brother did, but I highly doubt that. Mangone, you love narrative streets. You got a couple narratives in this game. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of narratives here. Obviously, Caruso's going to get his run. They're definitely going to. Don't worry. I know Caruso had a little bit of an interview too, talking about the Lakers and Bulls, and he basically said, "Hey, like I tried to go back to LA. Like I came with the offer sheet from the Bulls, and they said no. Like they didn't give me more. So of course he wants to go out there and prove that he should have gotten that paycheck. He wanted to be with the Lakers technically, but he's very happy where he is with the Bulls. Got paid. So yeah, Zach LaVine is definitely someone too at 8-1. You're gonna want to consider him. He's definitely a good guard spend up. The price hasn't adjusted enough. DeMar DeRozan, don't mind him. He also loves playing in LA, so a little bit of narrative there too. You got the Lonzo Ball. I mean, there's all the revenge narratives here. Kobe White, yeah, he's gonna take up some minutes, but I would not be surprised. And it's too thin for this slate. It's probably a late slate thing, but Alish Johnson got a DNP last night, and he was playing before, but they might need his size tonight. So I wouldn't hate going there. I'm probably the late slate, right? That's not for the main slate. I think it's a bad idea there, but it might be a little under-owned. I do think that you can consider, Westbrook and Davis, both good spend ups, but are they the right spend ups today? I'm not sure. I don't think I really want to go there as much, but they are guys that are gonna, get a good amount of usage. They've been a little bit better. It just depends on if that's where I land. I think for my top end guys, I would much prefer to get up to Jokic though than an Anthony Davis if I could. Talon Horton Tucker is 3K, and he's going to be a value play that you can get on your teams, and I think he's a good option to consider. So this is a good game to play. They haven't priced up the Bulls correctly yet, so definitely think that you don't want to ignore this game. It's one that later on you can easily pivot to, and you can make some slight pivots too if your teams are kind of in trouble. If you have Zach LaVine on your team, you can change it to Lonzo Ball and then switch over to another option, maybe if you have a 2v2. So be sure to monitor that when you're kind of building out your lineups.
Yeah, like we said, you got to have a plan. These last 2 games are good. If everyone is in, you're still fine. It's not a game. You wouldn't be absolutely screwed, as we've been saying. We're going to get into the plays of the day shortly. There is a little news to mention, but first, 477 watching, 268 likes. We're going to do a little more talking before we get out of here, but let's make a push to 300. We're not going to keep the plays of the day. I mean, we're not going to keep them from you. We'll give them to you. We appreciate you guys hanging out on Monday, but 268, we can make a push to 300 for sure. The news I want to mention is Jalen Suggs was ruled out. That's pretty big news. Jalen Suggs is one of their higher usage guys. Now, I like Cole Anthony a little bit at 7-4. Again, I'm not sure. You really want to lock yourself into a 7:30 p.m. Eastern. RJ Hampton, I'm not sure. Terrence Ross, Franz Wagner. I don't know exactly how to break this news down. Mangone or Hoop? We just got it, obviously, but I think some pieces on Orlando might get there. Talk about it.
Yeah, I think it would be more, the news would be more important on like a smaller slate. I mean, we got an 11-game slate. We already have a ton of value. Do you want to go to a team that's, now 11-point underdogs facing a team that's pretty good defensively? I don't think we need to go there. I mean, if Cole Anthony was cheaper, yeah, but 7-4. I guess Wagner would be the one guy that maybe I would consider a little bit, but it's all just like deeper tournament stuff for me personally.
And going, any thoughts on it?
It sounds like, is Gary Harris starting? So Gary Harris is starting. So I mean that just messes it up a bit. He's 3K, but do you want to play 3K Gary Harris? No, I do not.
Oh yeah, we did just get it.
I wouldn't mind like if I think now with that news, I'm not really caring about any of them. It is going to slide some usage over to, I think it slides it over to Franz Wagner a little bit. Maybe he ball handles a little bit more, but I mean, we have seen him hit some ceiling games. So I think the shots go to Franz Wagner at 4.7K. He's someone that I would consider at the small forward position, but not my favorite. And I don't hate RJ Hampton or Terrence Ross, but again, I think there's better plays. Don't just take this news and be like, oh, I need to load up on it. I think you can pick pieces here and there.
Yeah, someone asked Terrence Ross's price. He's 3.6 on DK, small forward eligible. Hampton 3.2. Yeah.
Jared Allen ruled out, by the way.
Jared Allen ruled out. So yeah, I expect Mobley to start at the 5. People are asking about that a little earlier. I still think Rubio comes off the bench. The news is coming in, but we got to get to the Up to Lock show soon. You guys made a little push to 300. We appreciate it. We're going to get into the plays of the day. Mangone, I'm going to throw it to you first. I'm a little worried about who you're going to say, but who is the dry hump play of the day for us?
Yeah, I mean, if you think the guy I was going to maybe mention is going to get like 15 fantasy points, slide in title. It's okay. I did lose I think I lost the Thielen and Jefferson bet to you, so I can easily come back with that.
Of course you did. If
you got a number, that you want to set, feel free to set the price, title, and the number. Happy to see what you think.
26.
So hold on.
He's not getting 20.
If you can go 4.1K for 26 fantasy points, Hoop, are you signing up for that?
Oh, hey,
yes.
Mango,
yes.
What do you say? This is where you throw the little bait and you hope you catch it. Come on.
Okay, so you need to go lower. So keep going. It's fine. We'll do it off air if you'd like to. We got some time to sit around and wait. But here's my plan. I actually think this is a good one. I think it's good regardless of news. I also think because you're backloading it, people are not really gonna play him. And even if the news doesn't hit your way, I still think he's a great play. It's Gary Trent Jr. I think he's an awesome option. You can play McGarden forward, a lot of flexibility. It's 5.8K. Ownership projections don't have him high right now. So I'm like, okay, I think it's okay to give him out as a play. It's a really big slate too. So I'm going with Gary Trent Jr. I think regardless of news.
Ricky Rubio starting.
Oh, that's good.
That's big.
We're gonna K Falix already yelling at me. So the Up to Lock show is gonna have to break all that stuff down. That definitely is big news. K Falix, yeah. So all right, I'm gonna get into the SO play of the day. I'm gonna go in this Orlando game with them out. Cole Anthony at 7.4K has absolutely dominated. If you're a game log guy, you pull up those game logs and it is tasty. 7-4. He shot poorly the past 2 games, 4 for 16, 4 for 12. He's getting peripheral stats. The usage is there. He has big time upside and no one's gonna play him. So without Suggs, Cole Anthony 7.4. I think there is a lot of upside there. Rich Barron's play of the day. Who do you got for us?
Well, now there's a little more pressure because I kind of made fun of yours, so I can't. I'm going with Kyle Kuzma. It's an early game. You got to lock him in early, but just playing really, really, really well. Tons of minutes, tons of usage without Beal. So I'm going Kuzma as the Rich Parents play of the day. And that Ricky Rubio news, I actually really like him starting here tonight. I bet the Cavs, so I'm kind of excited.
That's definitely is big news. K Fowler keeps yelling in chat. You're gonna have to tune into the Up to Lock show. News is piling in. That Ricky Rubio news definitely is big because I didn't expect that to happen. But if you're not a member, you want to be a member to see that show and get the cores and everything. RPS Heater 25 gets you 25% off. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us on this Monday. Good luck, everyone, in your contest. For Hoop, Mangone, Simon behind the sticks, I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.